Recording is in progress. I assume it's going to the cloud, and I hope it is because I don't really have a lot of room on my phone. Hello, everyone. It is the last month of 2022. It is December, officially. It is the 2nd of December. It is the last month of 2022. It is the last month of the Lover's Year in Tarot. It's been quite a year. It's been quite a year. That's what I can say. I think it's a little too early for me to review. It's still too close. We're still in it after all. But 2023 is coming. It will be here before we know it. Next time we're talking, it will likely be 2023. And it'll be the year of the Chariot. It will also be the year of the Rabbit, which is my year. I was born in the year of the Rabbit. I don't know what year we're in right now. I have a feeling that we're in. Is it the? It's not the dragon. Let me just look it up. 2022 Chinese. It's also just not Chinese New Year, but that's how you find it on Google because racism. It's tiger. It's a tiger this year. Next year is the Rabbit. Okay. So there's a lot of things. Obviously, it's going to be I don't wish to say it like this, but I'm going to say it like this. It's going to be a gratuitous year. There's going to be a lot of things going on. A lot. And I think in a way it will be there to lead people to the desire and to the fostering of cohesion, of integration, right? And of simplifying, which isn't to say easy and which isn't to say simple, but like simplifying what is complex already and what has been made complicated by not appreciating the complexity that's already there. We have created confusion. So I do think that 2023 is going to be extra. That being said, how it will be that way is for us to decide with our behavior as individuals and as community. So we'll see what we do next. We will see what we do next. So for the color reading, which is, as we know, my dear listener, watcher, reader, the concern, the opportunity, the obstacle, the advantage, or the aversion, we will be pulling these cards for December. We will be pulling these cards from Visions in the Liminal Space and from, let me just pull it up while I speak then. Visions in the Liminal Space and the Tarot of Gemstones and Crystals. And we'll see who's who at the zoo, because as we know, the general listener gets the concern, opportunity, obstacle, advantage, aversion card, and then the subscribing listener gets the key card. The key card. So, what do we need to know about this December? Okay. Let's see that. All right. Okay. All right, so Visions in Liminal Space is our concern, opportunity, obstacle, advantage, and aversion. And then Tarot of Gemstones and Crystals will be our key card, which, as you know, is either the keystone, the thing holding everything together, or the skeleton key, which is the thing that unlocks, which is more just about the functionality of how the key is working. It's not an indication of whether one is good and one is bad. It can both be both either. And all right, they want me to pull the key card now. So, and what's the key for this last year of 22? This last month, and this last year of 2022. There will be no more. There will be no more 2022s. Okay. Give me 2 seconds. I do this with you, watcher, so you know I'm not just putting cards down that I want to see. Okay. So our concern card, what is objectively going on? What is happening in the month of December 2022? And we have knock, knock, tick, tock. Okay. So, and also let's look at it. It's got 333 up here. Phones at 3%. Okay. Then we have a megaphone with talking about infinity, you know, the universe. We have an emergency in regards to, what does that say? Oh, an emergency in regards to 666. So alarm, urgency, illumination, controversy, certainly. Then we have 555 at the bullhorn, or like the stadium horn, a clock with infinity, lightning bolts, 333 again. We have a caution sign with 1221. And then we have a time, what are they called? Timepiece? What's that called? A timepiece. Anyways, 222. Now, for me, knock knock TikTok is like you're on deck. Hourglass. Thank you, Kristen. Hourglass. I was like timepiece, sand time. So for the concern to be knock knock TikTok, okay, obviously we're in like Sagittarius season. We're going from fall to winter. We are in one hemisphere, you know, hibernating, gathering, hunkering down, another hemisphere, opening up, moving, progressing. The world never sleeps in that sense. I don't know that it needs to, which is also another reason why our concept of time is very much about us. But why I think this is interesting for knock knock TikTok. When I say our concept of time is about us, I mean like it's more about how we relate to everything else rather than how we are a part of everything else. Our concept of time is linear in that sense. But knock knock TikTok, for something to be at the door, for you to be on deck, time is of the essence. Like get ready for the momentum that's coming, because whether we want things to change or not, things are changing. And all the conjugations. And the reason for that is more or less because that's the nature of how things are, including ourselves. So if anything, to me, this says this is kind of a time when inspiration strikes, or when it occurs for you to say something, or if it's like about putting your cards on the table or throwing your hat into the ring. And I realize, actually speaking to a lot of foreigners, that using United States idioms is not helpful. So putting your cards on the table, meaning like being transparent about what's taking place, throwing your hat into the ring, meaning like applying to the thing, entering the contest, joining the activity, like being a part of the process, and actively, explicitly participating in what is being offered to you that is also interesting to you. Or like I like to say, magnetization, polarization, what I'm attracted to that's attracted to me, right? Like give it a go. Give yourself the opportunity to be in harmony and in harmony. Sorry, that was my PBS childhood coming up. But being in harmony with the things that are desired, right? Because there's the challenge of not having what you want, what you believe yourself to want, what you need. And then when you have what you need and have what you want, and your identity isn't based upon the struggle of having these things, then who will you be, right? And so you have to think whatever. You don't have to do anything, but you can think of yourself as a trajectory, as a journey, of course, and as an opportunity to see what you are made of. And that includes anticipating, I shouldn't say anticipating, but like being prepared for anything. And that includes the best, not just the worst, right? Like when the relationship settled, when we're happy at home, when we're having a moment of peace, when work is smooth, like, can we be all right with that? Or do we need to create some agitation? Because knock, knock, tick tock isn't to alarm you. It's not like, be careful. It's more like you have a door so that people can come in and come out so that you can greet people at it. And there's something there to greet you. And specifically, if it's looking like something you want, would you trust that? Or are you only prepared for outcomes you don't prefer? But let's see whether the opportunity obstacle card corroborates what I'm telling you, okay? Because as you know, I turn over the cards with you. Opportunity obstacle card is Excelsior. Excelsior. Okay. Look, the sun. I always ask clients when I'm showing this to them, is the sun setting or is the sun rising? And I let them answer that for me. And we see that the moon is here above the sun. We see someone is blindfolded. It's justice. We see there's a feather being balanced. A staff with a crystal attached. Sorry, I know it's not being great. And Excelsior, which I'm pretty sure the etymology of Excelsior is on the hill. But let's see. Or the hill. So let's see. Excel. C or Latin Excelsior, higher. Comparative of excelsus, high, elevated, lofty. Past particle of excellere, to rise, surpass, be superior, be eminent. From X, out from, right? X plus cellere, excellere. Rise, cellere is rise, high, tower. Related to Celsus, high, lofty, great. From Proto-Indo-European, to be prominent, or hill, right? Because a hill is a pronounced piece of earth. It makes itself known by being set forth, which is also what exist means, right? It means to put forth, to be made out, to have form, matter, shape, right? So Excelsior ultimately means to be out and prominent, to be out on the hill, right? Which is also to say, what, we need to close that because I might need that again. Which is also to say, though, especially after knock knock TikTok, it's like, are you ready to be the star of your own program? Because you are, right? Like this, you are your program, you are the star of that program, you are intended to be the star of that program. Whatever happens to you is the plot intended for you, not only by existence, but by yourself, by those you keep company with, by the circumstances you're in, etc., right? Like you are creating and conducting this storyline with existence. And you have your influence, right? Like the star of the production has their influence, but they don't run the whole motherfucking show. And usually when they do, it's catastrophic. When any one person in the creation of something that takes hundreds, if not thousands of people to do is being a tyrant of that circumstance, it usually will derail the circumstance, because where controls etymology means to go against the wheel, like to go against gravity, to go against nature, to go against the easefulness of the process, also to work against things, nature, right? To work, like there's a director for director reasons, and there's an actor for actor reasons, and there's cinematographer for cinematographer reasons, and there's a writer for writer reasons. And sometimes people will wear multiple hats, sure, but like they're not wearing every single hat in the production. And if they are, it's usually called a one-person show. But if your one person show stars anyone else, requires anyone else, then obviously it's not a one person show. You're just the poster child, okay? But we are each the poster child for our own show. And I think when it says to be prominent, to be on the hill, it's like, one, are you willing to be apparent, seen, noticeable, differentiated from what otherwise would be unremarkable, aka expected, called flatlands? Oh, but there's not flatlands. That means that's a thing. What can that thing offer that the flatland doesn't offer? Then you stand on top of the hill and you're like, oh, I can see things from a different vantage point, right? So it's like, are you willing to stand out? Are you ready for your moment? Are you ready for your close-up? Are you ready for existence to be, it's silly to say this because it's not that it's, because it implies that it's not this way anyway. But like, are you ready for existence to be on top of you? Because some people are like, oh, when will my story start? You know, when will my plot come along? When will this get interesting? When will the stakes be higher? And of course, trust Sagittarius season to be like, oh, you want high stakes? I'll show you high stakes. Pew! And then we see and land in 2023. But let's see, also, of course, like with the moth, right? This is like the winter. I think of the moth. I've never said this before. So I now, me, this version of me, I think of the moth as the winter butterfly. Okay. So, or the night butterfly, whatever. But the metamorphosis, right? Like the coming out, the not being afraid of the unknown, the unperceivable, the unseeable, the future, and going about and trusting, of course, with the moon here, we have intuition, inner guidance with the blindfold, staff, you know, like preparedness. And then what do we have with our advantage aversion? Because our advantage aversion card is like, what about my character is helping or hindering the situation? And in the situation, we're being called forth. We're being asked to get ready to choose the hill we're going to die on. Okay. Is that the hill you want to die on? Is your life the hill that you want to die on? Are you the you that you want to die on? Are you ready to just cash out tomorrow? Have you done all the things? Have you been all the people? Not that you can do it all at once, but meaning like to the best of your ability, even now, even today. What else is there for you to do? But yes, are you the hill that you want to die on? Is this the hill that you want to die on? Time is of the essence. You're on call, you know, you're on deck, you're about to be on set. And our advantage aversion card, what about our characters helping or hindering us? We have, oh, be groovy or leave, man. I love it. Let's look into this little setting, this living room setting. First of all, I have to say, I deeply love that in this Oracle deck, there's a card that makes you look at it from a completely different orientation than the rest of the cards, right? So it's like, one, you're supposed to have a different perspective. Everyone is entitled to this. Everyone is allowed. The evidence is that they already do. So knowing that this is the nature of things, what can your perspective do for you? And I think it is important to talk about our awareness as if it is an entity upon itself, right? When I think about my relationship with the cards, I think of the cards as like a consciousness awareness, embodiment, a symbol, anchoring, a representation of a type of understanding or a way of knowing. And so the reason I tell people the reading you need and not necessarily the reading you want is because my primary commitment is my relationship to the cards. I need to do them justice because they're the ones I'm in constant and intentional relationship with. So too is it with your beliefs, right? So too is it with your thoughts. So too is it with your feelings. So too is it with your behaviors. And I think for this to be the advantage or the aversion, the character card, be groovy or leave, man. It's like, if you are not creating from your choices, and that means the choices that you're most at liberty to make and the choices you're at least liberty to make, but like your spectrum of choice making. Like if you're not choosing in the direction of the self of you, the version of you, but the self of you that you most prefer, I can say, what is the point? But what I would say, but when I'm saying that, knowing that nothing can be wasted in an infinite universe because everything will obviously be recycled. And that's also why it looks like this, right? But like, you will not have the benefit of the experience in real time, which isn't to say that your like soul won't get the benefit, or like your descendants won't get the benefit, or humanity won't get the benefit, or even Earth will get the benefit. But like you who are the experience, you of the real time, you of the moment to moment, you of the day to day, you of the thought to thought, you of the feeling to feeling, what like you also are supposed to get something out of it. And the thing you're supposed to get out of it is yourself and your relationship to that. And so we honor that relationship directly and primarily, if you're me, okay, before anything else. Because really, you're not really capable of doing anything else. And even when you do think that you're doing something else, you're just creating a belief that says that's how you have to be. So if you're deciding that the way that you have to be is a way that you don't prefer, in a way that feels oppressive for you, in a way that doesn't allow you to live your best life, particularly when you're in a place where you are free to do other things, you know, not free to do every fucking thing, but free to do enough things that you could change the circumstances, then you are your very own tyrant, which just means that like the systemic conditioning that you are conditioned under is effective, and that you are allowing yourself to be utilized by it. Again, your soul, your higher self, your ancestors, people around you may all get the benefit of this experience, even if you don't. But like the be groovy or leave, man, and the fact that this is someone's living room, like you should be at home in yourself. That's the one place that existence actually gave to you for you. So to live as if that is not what is supposed to happen, particularly when we're not in the more stringent oppressive circumstances where that is literally physically prohibited, like when we're prohibiting ourselves, when we're doing the work of the oppressor, aka when we're doing the work of oppression ourselves, because it's like you want to say the oppressor, but like everyone's passing the fucking buck. All I know is that oppression is being done. So when you are doing the work of oppression, like, and there actually aren't physical requirements outside of you that are immediate pressing for you to respond to in that way, you are choosing that version of yourself for whatever reason, right? And even if you don't prefer that version of yourself, there's a belief in you that says being this version of myself that I don't prefer is better than the alternative or alternatives. Then the question becomes, okay, well, what are the alternatives that I'm making up? Like, AKA, what's the worst that could happen if I was my most authentic self? And then you start running simulations. And those simulations, any of the things that you're thinking of that could be worse than what you're already doing, are the beliefs, the narratives, the conditionings, the oppressions that are creating an environment that you say you would rather not be a part of, but that you are embodying through your not simply your behavior, but your being humanity. right? Because people want to talk about humanity like you're not a human. Like, yes, there's humanity, and then there's every little individual that makes up humanity who can change the tide of their little humanity, even if it's just them. And that then humanity has to incorporate that definition too, regardless of whether it was one person. It was there, it was human. They were a human, they did that in that way. Therefore, humanity is capable of that thing because one human has been capable of that thing. And obviously that human didn't make themselves. So if one human can be capable of that from the history of humanity, then any human can be capable of those things. So now that we have done that, we'll take a big sip, and then we're going to do the key card, and then we're going to do the individual card pulls. So excuse my big slurpy ASMR sounds that are potentially in your ear. Okay. Now, from our key card, I know how I'm going to do this from now on. When I'm doing the key card, I'm going to go like this.